They have replaced, according to Jordan Schultz, Drake May with Shedeur Sanders. 0% of Shedeur Sanders' season qualifies him as a Pro Bowl player. As a player with those kind of numbers, even being considered for the Pro Bowl. This objectively is ridiculous.
On January 26, 2026, the NFL stepped on a rake, and the handle came swinging right back. Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback with rough numbers, more interceptions than touchdowns, and not even a full season of tape, somehow ended up labeled a Pro Bowler.
News. Multiple reports have Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders added to the Pro Bowl roster as a replacement. He's the first fifth-round rookie to make a Pro Bowl since Puka Nacua did so recently. Shedeur 3-4 record, 57% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the year.
What happened next made the whole thing look even messier. The reactions from NFL players weren't polite, weren't subtle, and definitely weren't quiet. That single roster move cracked open a bigger question people hate to ask out loud. What is the Pro Bowl even rewarding now? Because every so often, the league drops a decision that makes you stop mid-scroll and think, wait, are we watching the same sport? The kind of moment that makes earned it feel like a slogan instead of a rule. January 26, 2026 turned into one of those moments. Shedeur Sanders, rookie quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, was added to the 2026 Pro Bowl roster as a replacement for New England Patriots quarterback Drake May, who moved on to Super Bowl 60 after beating the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. So yes, there's a reason a replacement spot opened up, but the name that filled it is what set people off. And before you even get to the noise online or the side eyes in locker rooms, the stat sheet is where the real tension lives.
It's not Shedeur Sanders, the son of primetime Deion Sanders, one of the greatest players in the history of the NFL. It's not Shedeur Sanders, the guy who Mel Kiper and others were on the bandwagon for so hard in the draft, and he still fell to the 5th round. These are just the numbers of the player that just was elected to the Pro Bowl. His QBR out of 100 was 18.9.
Sanders was a 5th-round draft pick, and this selection made him the first such rookie to make the Pro Bowl since Puka Nacua. It also put him in Browns history as the first Cleveland QB to get a Pro Bowl nod since Derek Anderson in 2008. Sounds shiny, right? But then you look back at the losing numbers, the interceptions stacking up, the touchdowns not keeping pace, and only a partial season to judge. For a lot of fans, that's not best of the best. That's the league playing favorites, pushing a name, or chasing a storyline.
Now, before you guys come at me, all I'm asking you to do is just look at the data. Just look at the data. Shedeur Sanders' QBR rating for this season, out of 100, was 18.9.
Sanders' rookie stat line wasn't exactly screaming elite. He put up 1,400 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 56% completion rate, and a 3-4 record in his starts. Let that sit for a second. More picks than touchdowns, a completion rate that looks shaky even by old-school standards, and a losing record as the guy under center. And the wild part is, people weren't just mad, they were confused. Veteran sports broadcaster Trey Wingo broke it down and basically tore the whole pick apart with a detailed numbers-first rant that hit like a hammer. Here's what made it sting even more: an 18.9 QBR out of 100. Put it in plain terms, that's near the basement. In 2025, only Josh Dobbs had a worse EPA per dropback among players, with at least 1 pass attempt, and yet Shedeur Sanders still ended up stamped as a Pro Bowl quarterback. The backlash went off fast. The second the news hit social media, fans and analysts piled in, calling the Pro Bowl a joke and saying it's time to scrap it. But these weren't only random accounts yelling into the void. The heat reached people with real NFL status and real hardware. Former San Diego Chargers linebacker Sean Merriman, a 3-time Pro Bowler known as Lights Out, posted on X, "I have a Pro Bowl helmet that I walk by almost every day. It's signed by some of the best players in the history of the NFL legends, HOERS and real GOATs. The Pro Bowl used to be a badge of honor and respected things have changed." Merriman's post blew up fast. A lot of people took it as a not-so-subtle shot at Sanders' selection, especially with the timing and those rough stats sitting right there. Headlines quickly started framing it like Merriman was trashing Sanders or going off on him, even though the message was really about what the Pro Bowl used to mean versus what it's turning into. Then Jim Rome jumped in, and he didn't come with a trophy and confetti. He came with sarcasm so thick you could cut it.
Personally, I think this is a great choice. In fact, if you want to be appalled, or furious or insulted by anything. It's not that Shedeur was added to the roster as a replacement. It's that he wasn't named a starter in the first place. I mean, come on. Tell me one QB in the AFC more deserving of starting the Pro Bowl or whatever that debacle is now. Tell me one QB in the AFC more deserving than Shedeur Sanders.
Every line sounded like praise, but the point was the opposite. Rome wasn't cheering the pick, he was putting a spotlight on how ridiculous the whole situation looked. But the biggest problem isn't even the jokes or the viral posts. It's the numbers that make this feel like mediocrity wearing a crown. Trevor Lawrence, who was reportedly one of the top alternates, had a completely different kind of season. 4,007 yards, 38 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 91.0 passer rating, and a 13-4 record. Lawrence reportedly declined the invitation, and so did other quarterbacks who actually had the kind of stat lines people expect from an all-star nod. And that's where this stops being just fans being mad and turns into something darker. The Pro Bowl becoming a watered-down label that doesn't match the performance. New Orleans Saints defensive end Cameron Jordan, an 8-time Pro Bowler, replied directly to Merriman's post with a tired, been-there tone. L&A, it's always been like this, at least the last 7-8 years. Mitch Trubisky, Tyler Huntley. Now share, LLQBs and Pro Bowls for some reason don't truly add up. The Tyler Huntley comparison hits hard because Huntley made it as a backup with limited starts. And now Sanders is getting lumped into that same weird category of Pro Bowl QBs that spark more arguments than applause. And when the news hit live, even Rich Eisen, the longtime NFL Network host and anchor, looked stunned on air.
So, you know who's just been named as a replacement for Drake May? Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Has just been named as a Pro Bowl replacement. So all the haters coming out. And I get it. You don't look at that. Listen,
this should not count as making the Pro Bowl.
I know. I get it. His numbers are not Pro Bowl worthy. He didn't play a full season. I understand.
Eisen flat out acknowledged that Sanders' stats didn't earn the honor on paper. He pointed to the ugly touchdown to interception split, 7-10, the incomplete season, and the general lack of real impact in the biggest moments. Basically, if you're judging it like a football award, the case wasn't there. Then Eisen floated what a lot of people were already thinking. This might be about name power, not game power. Sanders came into the league with a bright spotlight from his college run at Colorado under his father, Deion Sanders, and the NFL knows exactly what that kind of profile can do. The Pro Bowl has been fighting declining interest, and a headline-friendly pick can pull eyes back in, even if it lights people up in the comments. ESPN analyst Marcus Spears didn't sugarcoat it. He called the decision crazy as hell, but said it's basically business, adding that bringing Shedeur Sanders to the Pro Bowl is about marketing. He even said, I get it, and that right there is the issue people can't shake. If the league gets it, then fans get it too. This isn't strictly about the best players anymore, it's about attention. That's why this controversy hit so hard. The Pro Bowl used to feel like a stamp of real respect. Now it's starting to look like a ratings play, a hype machine, something built for clicks and arguments instead of pure performance. One Reddit thread pointed out the irony. The 5-12 Browns now have more Pro Bowlers than the 14-3 Patriots headed to the Super Bowl. Think about how wild that sounds. A team that barely won anything has more All-Stars than a team about to play for the championship. And analyst John Root went straight for the throat, saying, Pro Bowl is dead. People are looking at this and saying the same thing. If this is a Pro Bowl season, then what's the label even worth anymore? But it's not all one-sided outrage. Some folks are treating the whole thing like it's no big deal, and a few are even arguing Sanders earned the spot in the only way the modern Pro Bowl really works. That's where it gets messy, because now you're not just debating a player, you're debating the rules of the game behind the scenes. And to be fair, Sanders isn't standing alone. He's got supporters who see this selection as a different kind of win, not a stats-only badge. Their argument isn't always, he was elite. It's more like, this is what the Pro Bowl has turned into. And if that's true, then acting shocked is almost playing catch-up. Shannon Sharp, a Hall of Fame tight end with 3 Super Bowl rings and 8 Pro Bowl nods, weighed in on his Nightcap podcast with Chad Ochocinco Johnson and defended the young quarterback. When Sharp talks about honors and recognition, people listen, because he's been in those rooms where reputations get made.
No matter what you think, Shedeur Sanders, whether he makes another one or not, when it's all said and done, he'll be a one-time Pro Bowl player. So how he got there is unimportant. Nobody's going to remember 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years from now that he was an alternate and got selected to the Pro Bowl.
Sharp's core point is hard to deny on paper. The record books don't usually separate the first pick from the replacement. A Pro Bowl appearance sits there the same either way. But here's the problem. When the conversation turns into a courtroom debate instead of a simple "he deserved it," that tells you the award has changed. If an honor needs a full explanation just to sound normal, the shine is already wearing off. Even the people writing for Sanders still ended up admitting the same core truth. The Pro Bowl isn't what it used to be. The defense sounded less like "this guy clearly earned it," and more like "this is how the league moves now," which says a lot all by itself. Matt Barnes and Keyshawn Johnson on All the Smoke took a more laid-back angle and treated the selection like a vibe move. They basically framed it as good optics, pointing at his pull and his profile, saying he sells tickets and brings joy to fans. That's a totally different definition of Pro Bowler, though. That's not a reward you grind for. That's a product you can promote. And here's where it gets even more loaded. The loudest part of this whole thing isn't just the praise or the rage. It's the pattern people keep bringing up around Sanders' image. A lot of folks think the way he's been talked about for years shaped his draft slide. And it's also shaping how people are reading this Pro Bowl nod now. Back in college at Jackson State in Colorado, Sanders was constantly under a microscope. Some critics labeled him as too cocky, too entitled, and too focused on branding instead of staying team first. That talk got louder because of the famous last name, the flashy style, and the big money attached to his name early on. His name, image, and likeness deals were reportedly over $1 million early and climbed to around $6 million by his final season, which only turned the volume up on every opinion about him. Then at the NFL Scouting Combine in February 2025, things allegedly got even uglier behind closed doors. An anonymous longtime NFL assistant coach described one of Sanders' interview sessions as the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. The same account also claimed the coach didn't like his body language and felt he was pointing fingers at teammates while taking unnecessary shots. A post-game clip from Sanders after Colorado's loss to Nebraska is the one critics keep pointing back to.
It was, you look at the protection that Dylan Raiola had compared to mine. That pick six, he had really damn good protection when he was in the end zone. It was really good protection that Colorado gave him.
The main criticisms last year of Shedeur Sanders was the sack numbers, and he was taking so many sacks because he didn't want his stats to lose.
Because it sums up the vibe they've been calling out for years. Instead of putting it on himself the way people expect a quarterback to do, he shifted the focus to his offensive line. That might sound like normal frustration, but to a lot of watchers it came off like passing the heat instead of wearing it. Sports columnist Mike Farrell jumped on it too, saying that in about 15 seconds, Sanders managed to torch his own line's ability to pass, protect, and run block. Farrell also noted that even if the complaint had some truth to it, it still looked like shaky leadership, especially coming from a quarterback who's supposed to set the tone when things go bad. And the criticism doesn't stop at what he says in front of microphones. Scouts and analysts have pointed to habits on the field that they say match the same pattern. Holding the ball too long, taking avoidable sacks, and showing frustrated body language toward teammates have all been repeated talking points. In 2024 at Colorado, he was sacked 52 times, and that number became a flashing warning sign for evaluators who already thought his timing and decision-making needed work. Then there's the image side. The flashy persona, the diamond-studded watch moments during games, and the constant promotion of his too legendary clothing line rubbed some people the wrong way. Not because players can't have style or businesses, but because critics said it looked distracting, like the brand was competing with the football. Early 2024 mocks had him pegged as a potential top 5 pick. Then the slide happened, and it wasn't a gentle drop. It was a free fall. He didn't land until the 5th round, when the Cleveland Browns took him, and a lot of league voices tied that tumble to the same attitude concerns that had been trailing him since college. Giants offensive tackle Jermaine Eluemunor didn't hold back after the Sanders selection, calling the Pro Bowl a joke. He pointed to his own teammate Andrew Thomas, an elite left tackle who still hasn't gotten the nod despite years of top-level play. Eluemunor's point was simple. Fan voting plus name recognition can drown out real merit. If you're famous, you're in. And that hits different coming from someone still in the league. Eluemunor isn't a talk show voice chasing attention or a retired guy doing the back-in-my-day routine. He's in the trenches right now, watching who gets rewarded and who gets skipped. His message basically screams what a lot of players whisper. The biggest brand often beats the best film. Even in Cleveland, the reaction wasn't all celebration. Ken Carman of 92.3. The fan said the selection felt totally unfair to Sanders himself. because it throws him into a spotlight he didn't really earn on paper. Carman also pointed out a tricky angle. Sanders can't exactly decline without it looking bad, and turning it down could create tension with the league. So now he's stuck wearing a label that instantly invites jokes, hot takes, and non-stop comparisons to quarterbacks with much stronger seasons. That twist is what makes this whole thing extra awkward. The pick might not just be controversial, it might be a setup. Once you're tagged Pro Bowler, people expect Pro Bowl production, and the gap between expectation and reality is where the noise gets loudest. On top of that, the nepotism talk popped back up when Colorado retired Sanders' number 2 jersey, with critics calling it way too soon based on the team's record and the lack of major postseason success. Comedian Shane Gillis even roasted it at the 2025 ESPYs, saying, "Shedeur Sanders had his jersey number retired at Colorado this year, and people are saying it's because of nepotism, because of his father, and it's not. It's because he went 13-12 over his career and he almost won the Alamo Bowl. Definitely not nepotism, right?" The crowd reaction was mixed, but the punchline landed because the suspicion is already out there. The bigger feeling behind all of this is that Sanders keeps collecting honors that people don't think his on-field results alone would have unlocked. And then, just when you think the conversation can't get any messier, there's the speeding tickets angle waiting in the wings. In June 2025, Sanders was involved in 2 speeding incidents in Ohio. The second one was the headline grabber, 101 miles per hour in a 60 miles per hour zone, which can qualify as reckless operation under Ohio law. What made it look even worse was the timing, because it reportedly happened just hours after he missed a court date connected to the first speeding citation. None of this has anything to do with throwing a football, but it fed into the public picture of a young player still adjusting to the rules and pressure that come with being a pro and being watched all the time. That's why Trey Wingo's take hit so hard for a lot of people. His point wasn't, let's pile on Sanders. It wasn't about denying talent or acting like the guy can't grow. The message was more uncomfortable than that. The Pro Bowl used to be the cleanest stamp of individual excellence in the league, and now it's turning into something that barely looks like the same award. Because once the debate stops being, did he play like a Pro Bowler, and turns into, well, here's why it makes sense anyway, the honor is already sliding. This isn't only about one replacement spot. It's about the whole trail that got us here, how merit starts getting blurry, and what the league is rewarding when the cameras matter as much as the stats. That's also why voices like Skip Bayless jumped in. Bayless, who lives for controversy, gave a take that was weirdly blunt while still defending the move. He said on air that Sanders is a Pro Bowler on interest generated, basically on magnetism, on eyeballs, on people tuning in. In Bayless's view, the Pro Bowl is a dying breed, and the league is using a headline name to keep it alive while interest drops. And when you line that up with Jim Rome's read on the situation, it gets even colder. The argument is that the NFL isn't even pretending anymore that the Pro Bowl is strictly about the best of the best. It's more like a content machine now, built to spark debates, drive engagement, and keep people talking, even if the football case doesn't fully hold up. The Pro Bowl process has always been messy. It's a mix of fan voting, player votes, and coaching input, and it constantly gets warped late because of injuries, Super Bowl players being unavailable, and guys opting out. Alternates get thrown in at the last minute, and the final roster can end up looking nothing like a true best-of-the-best list. The Sanders situation just cranked that problem up to a level people can't ignore. Here's the part that really set people off. Sanders reportedly ranked 10th in Pro Bowl fan voting among quarterbacks. That's wild when you stack it next to his rookie production. The argument critics keep making is that the votes weren't driven by performance, they were driven by attention. The Sanders name is loud, it's always been loud, and the spotlight follows it everywhere. With a big profile, a heavy online presence, and the family storyline always trending, he pulled support that guys with cleaner stats simply can't compete with. And that's where the implications get serious. If the Pro Bowl isn't mainly about rewarding the best seasons, then who gets left behind when the hype train rolls through? What happens to the offensive linemen who erase elite pass rushers every week but don't have a fan army online? What happens to the defensive tackles who eat double teams, blow up run plays, and cave in pockets but don't have a famous last name keeping them in the headlines? On Speakeasy, Emmanuel Acho painted Sanders as the newest poster child for what's wrong with the Pro Bowl, while stressing something important. It's not really Sanders' fault. This is a system problem, not a blame the rookie problem. And that point matters because Sanders didn't pick himself. He didn't rig votes, slide into a secret meeting, or pull strings behind the curtain. The league called, and he said yes, like almost anyone would if the NFL offered them a Pro Bowl spot. But the fact we're even arguing about it is the real tell. When you have to seriously debate whether a quarterback with more interceptions than touchdowns belongs anywhere near the same Pro Bowl conversation as Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, that says everything about what this honor has turned into. Then there's the extra baggage that keeps trailing Sanders and making every headline louder. Pro Football Hall of Fame running back Eric Dickerson claimed he heard from a very good source that the NFL told teams not to draft Sanders early or not to draft him at all as a way to make an example out of him. There's no public proof in that claim here, but once something like that gets said out loud by a big name, it becomes part of the story people repeat, whether they're defending Sanders or coming at him. And it didn't stop there. A Colorado Buffaloes fan reportedly filed a $100 million lawsuit against the NFL, claiming the league's alleged actions caused severe emotional distress and trauma. Even if that case goes nowhere, it shows how intense this whole situation has gotten. Sanders isn't just a player in the middle of a controversy anymore. He's become a lightning rod, and the league knows that a lightning rod brings attention. Trey Wingo's advice was calm, and that's what made it land. He basically said Sanders has real potential, and most people can admit that. His run at Colorado showed legit flashes, and even in a bumpy rookie year, there were moments that hinted he could be more than what the stat line says right now. But then comes the part people don't want to hear. Potential isn't achievement. Flashes aren't consistency, and a Pro Bowl spot is supposed to be a reward for what you did, not a pre-order for what you might become. Sean Merriman circled back later and made it clear his comments weren't meant as a personal attack on Sanders. He wrote, "When did this come about? Shedeur. It's not his fault he wasn't standing on the corner of the NFL building lobbying for the Pro Bowl, but there has to be a better system in place for guys to make it. That's the cleanest version of the point. Sanders didn't force this. He didn't campaign his way into it like a politician. The system handed it to him. And that's why this controversy won't die. The real problem isn't one rookie getting a late invite. The problem is a process that keeps drifting toward attention and away from excellence. When engagement starts mattering as much as performance, the honor starts shrinking, even if the logo stays the same. That's also why Shannon Sharpe's argument still leaves a weird feeling in the air. Sure, history might not keep the context. Years from now, people could look at a stat page and just see Pro Bowl quarterback without knowing how it happened. But anyone watching this unfold in real time, anyone who remembers when that label felt untouchable, is going to remember the gap between what the Pro Bowl used to signal and what it's starting to mean now. A lot of people are going to remember this as the year a quarterback with a 56% completion rate and a losing record got placed in the same Pro Bowl lane as real stars. They're going to remember it as the moment marketing beat merit. Like the league basically said, attention matters more than accuracy and buzz matters more than ball. Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father and Colorado's coach, reacted with nothing but positive energy online, posting, "God is so darn good. That's why we praise God when we win or lose, because he's worthy to be praised at all times." From their side, it's a blessing, a proud family moment, and you can't really fault someone for celebrating good news when it comes. But that's what makes the whole thing feel so strange. While the Sanders family is celebrating, a big chunk of the football world is treating this like a flashing warning sign for what the Pro Bowl has become. Not dead exactly, but not healthy either. More like something running on fumes, held up by headlines and hype instead of pure respect. And if the NFL doesn't tighten up how players are chosen, if it doesn't find a way to make performance the main ticket again, this won't be remembered as a random weird year. People will remember it as the moment everyone stopped pretending. The Pro Bowl, the one that used to mean you were truly among the best, isn't the same award anymore. What's left is a different kind of product. A marketing tool, a debate magnet, a controversy machine. And Shedeur Sanders, whether he asked for it or not, has become the face people point to when they talk about that shift. This whole thing is bigger than one rookie and one roster spot. It's a snapshot of where the league is at right now, where Pro Bowler can mean dominance, or it can mean momentum, name buzz, and who's trending when the ballots come in. Sanders didn't design the system, and he didn't hand himself the invite. The NFL did what the NFL does. It chased attention and called it tradition. And that's why this moment is going to stick. Not because people hate the player, but because people miss the standard. When the honor needs a full explanation to make sense, the honor starts feeling like a prop. Fans notice, players notice. Even the guys defending it are basically saying the quiet part out loud. So the real question isn't, should Sanders be there? The real question is what the Pro Bowl is supposed to be from here on out, and whether the league is ever going to tighten it up or just keep riding the noise. If you want more breakdowns like this, more receipts, more context, and the stories behind the headlines, tap in with Huddle Files. Follow Huddle Files and check out the next drop, because this isn't the last time the league is going to test what earned really means. And you already know, we'll have every second of it broken down, every twist, every leak, every hidden play behind the headlines. So like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share it out. Stay locked in with Huddle Files, where the real NFL stories live.